Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're continuing our countdown towards Christmas with 9 ladies dancing. And you can see a whole bunch of people there dancing in a fabulous great hall decorated with tons of Christmas decorations. And I'm guessing, given the flowing dresses and if you spotted it in the music, the beat, it sort of suggests that they're waltzing rather than just dancing. Shall we take a look at what the puzzle is all about? Let's do that next. So, we have 9 ladies dancing by willpower. And you can see we've got, again, stickman figures. We've got a couple of ladies here, with a nice flowing dress I can see. That's one. This one is dancing. A reference to the number 9, of course, to be snuck in there. But I'm kind of surprised all the other cages are adding up to 10 rather than 9. Maybe I'm missing the significance of that. And that, I'm going to say, yeah, the dress is the red line, and then the person is in purple. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Shall we take a look at the rules? We've got a few of them today. Let's take a quick step through them. I'm thinking at this point they're all going to be recognizable if you're following this series, but a quick reflection on them. So normal Sudoku rules applies, and it means place the digits 1 to 9 in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box without any repeats. We have German whispers, so numbers on the green line, which is only in here in box 7. Neighboring digits on that line have to be at least 5 apart from the neighbor. So if that was a 2, for example, the 2 neighbors are going to have to be 7, 8, or 9. Essentially, 2 plus 5 gets us to 7 as a minimum. And then you can see it oscillates back down from highs back down to a low. This would have to be 1 or 2 depending on what. I mean, it could even be a 3 if this is an 8-9 pair as such, for example. So that's something about German whisper rules. Dutch whispers. We have here this figurine on the right, and the red line is a Dutch whisper line. So difference between a German whisper is a Dutch whisper maybe is a bit more accommodating. They only have to be 4 apart on the line. So this 2 here can actually have a 6 now. It doesn't have to be 7, 8, 9. Same is true for all of these. Be very careful about Dutch lines. If this was a 9, I mean it can't be, I think. Let's try a different 9. If that was a 9, that can be a 5. And as a result, this can go down to a 1, and you don't necessarily end up with this oscillation of low digits, high digits, because you can go middle, then back to low. And essentially, you've sort of flipped the colors. So if I sort of color all of these, rather than being a consistent blue, red, you can see I've actually flipped it around. Right, what else do we have? We've got killer cages and KROPKI pairs. Let's talk about the killer cages first. So numbers in cages each sum to 10. And that means that these 2 cells that make up that cage have to add up to 10. So for example, if this was a 2, this would have to be an 8 to make sure that these 2 cells in the cage contained an outline with this dashed line sum up to 10. Lastly, we have KROPKI pairs, and we only have black dots today, which implies that they have a ratio of 2 to 1. I don't know if it implies, states that they have a ratio of 2 to 1. So if that was a 2, that could literally be a 1, as in 2 to 1. But as long as one cell is the double of the other, that can also be a 4, as in 2 times 2 is 4. Now, not all possible dots are given. I assume not all cages are given. So nothing stops me, for example, from having 2 and 4 over here. And nothing stops me from having 2 and 8 over here. The fact that these 2 add up to 10 and these 2 are double one another and they're neighbors doesn't mean any problems, doesn't cause any issues. So if you fancy waltzing in this beautiful ballroom and joining these ladies, although I can see in the thumbnail, they're clearly dancing with gentlemen, but at least if you want to jump in with a partner, link will be in the description down below for you to play along as usual. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So I think there's a few places I can start. I mean, the obvious one for me is this. That has to be 2, 4. It doesn't really give me any digits, if I'm honest. Actually, here is something in box 3. So quickly, just 2, 4. The fact that we have 3 cells that are all joined by black dots means it's got to be from the 1, 2, 4, 8 set, the 3, 6 set, and then there is a 5, 7, 9 set. 5, 7, and 9 can never be in a black dot cell, so you can always ignore these. 3 and 6 could be, but when there is a run of 3 cells, they can't possibly be 3, 6, otherwise you'd end up repeating one of them. So the second that you know that you have 3 cells, you can always start with confidence that the ones in the middle have to be from 2 and 4. We got 3 of these in here, so I know that this could be a 1, 2, 4 or 2, 4, 8 run, meaning that I don't have enough left other than 3, 6 in here. What else do I know? Same can't be said, by the way, for this pair, because that could be 2. What could it be? Actually, even better, that could be 4 and 8. And then this could be absolutely 1 and 2, because that's the 2. Nothing stops me from, essentially, well, kind of, I could do it. Maybe if I reverse it, does that work? 8, 4, 2. Yeah, that doesn't work. How about... Interesting. Maybe it is actually more forced than I may think, and this has to be 3, 6, but... before I went down this lengthy explanation and got distracted by box 5, I can actually place a digit in box 3. This is a 5. And I know that because you can see that we have a RENBAN line. I didn't actually explain the RENBAN lines. So numbers on purple lines are each a set of non-repeating consecutive numbers in any order. So meaning that I need to have a run of digits that are consecutive. And notice, because it's inside a 10, I absolutely need to have 1 low digit and 1 high digit. And I'm pretty sure this is 4 and 6. Now, the reason I'm sort of confident that this is a 5 is, given I need a low digit and a high digit, I have to pass through 5 to make sure that they are actually consecutive. Otherwise, they wouldn't be. Well, the 5 can't be in a 10 cage, can't be here. If that was a 5, I'd need to duplicate the 5 to make it add up to 10, which is nonsense. So that's not 5, that is the 5. I'm also thinking, can I do something different? Does it have to be 4, 6? If this is 3, 7, I think I've broken the puzzle, because this now needs to be 4 and 6. So that's clearly not going to work. This is 4, 6. These are the 3 7s. And this way we end up with a RENBAN line as either 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7, 6, 5, 4. Don't know the order of it, but almost doesn't matter at this point. We kind of learned quite a bit. I do know, though, that this 6 is not a 6, because the only cell that can be connected to it on a black dot is a 3, and I've already placed the 3, or pencil marked the 3. So that gives me the 4, this 6, this has to be, well, these have to be from 2 and 8. 2 and 8 in a 10 cage, kind of ironically, gives me another 2 and 8 to make sure they add up to 10. This now is not 4, 8, not 3, 6. This can only be 1, 2. Therefore, this is an 8, and that's a 9. And we have a break-in for sure. What else can I do? This 6 gives me a 3. The 3 on a Dutch whisper line has to be connected to something that is 4 or more away. Clearly, the 2 isn't. So that's 8, that's 2. And we can continue. Kind of very tempted, by the way, to color some of these so that I can just remember what are the high digits. But I think this could be 7 or 9. Can't be 8 because it's already in the column. And this could be any of them. That could be 7, 8, or 9 to be 4 or more away. I have... So essentially, between these, I have the 1, 2, 4, 8 sets as a quadruple. Therefore, this can't be an 8. Now, I'm also pretty certain that this has to be a 1. Because on a triplet, if I kind of use a number line to illustrate this, essentially what I'm trying to do is select 3 cells that are connected with black dots. So it's either 1, 2, 4 or it's 2, 4, 8. Regardless, 2 and 4 have to be part of that selection. So whatever this is, that's not a 2, that's the 1, that's a 2. That has to be a 4 now to be in the middle, surrounded by a 2, 8. The fact that this is a high digit tells me this has to be a low digit. 9 and 7 are way too close to an 8. That's a 2. That's an 8. Now, can I actually have 1 and 2 in here? And the answer is no. So what I was thinking of earlier, if you remember, is that I could actually take this digit, put a 1-2 pair in here. But that's simply too close on a Dutch whisper line. So this is actually fixed as 6 and 3, because only the 6 is far enough. Well, I mean the 8 as well, but only the 6 is far enough and available in box 9 to be placed. That 3 gives me a 7, a 3. It's bouncing back in here. It's going fairly well. The second 7, 9 in this column, which is essentially this cell, clearly it's not in here. That's 7, 9. And then I should be able to place a digit. It's 6 to complete column 8. What else can I do? I have 3, 4. I think I actually need to have 6 on there, don't I? So let's think about it. The minimum I can make this would be 1 and 2, 3, 4. I still need 5, 6. So 6 is definitely on this RENBAN line because it's a 6-cell RENBAN, so 6 has to be on it. And because of this 6, it's none of these cells. One of these is a 6, and therefore one of these is a 3, since the 6 can only be connected to a 3 on a black dot. Now I can see immediately it's not that pair. If I place 6 and 3 in here, I've broken this cell. So that's not the 6, 3. This is the 6, 3. And I will clearly need a 5, and then it's either 7 and 8 is not available. 8 is not available because it can see all of the remaining cells. So I definitely have a 5, and it's either a 1 or a 2 or a 7, I believe. Because I can do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So 2 and 5 are definitely on here. And then 1 or 7 is kind of the remaining options. So let me just see if I can place that somehow. So I've got 1, 2, 5, 7 as the options. 2, 7 are clearly not in here. And there has to be a 5 and a 2 between these 3 cells. And I just don't know how to show that. I'm just going to have to remember it somehow. Yeah, I'm not too sure. So just a bit of Sudoku just to tidy up. I've got 4 and 8 up here. They're not in this cell. They have to be in here. That's 4 and 8. That can't be an 8 next to a 7, 9. In fact, what is this cell? So it could be 1. It's not 2. It's not 3. It could be 4. And technically, it can be 5 if this is a 9. So I'm going to leave that as 1, 4, 5. So the loose cell that we have, essentially, to complete this box is a 1, 5. And it's either in here, to essentially complete the column, and the second one of them is in here. That's 1 or 5. It's very messy, this. It's not really helping me. I wasn't paying attention to this black dots. Maybe I should do that now. That's not 5 or 7. If that's a 1, this has to be a 2. If that's a 2, well, that would be a 4. And therefore, this has to be a 1. So this is a 1, 2 pair. Looking at this cell, that's a 4. That's 2, 8. I have 3, 6 in here. How long is this RENBAN? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So a 7-cell RENBAN, essentially, this is the one of the extremities, because you can have 3 to 9 or 1 to 7. And in a way, this kind of almost decides the shape of it. In a way. I'm tempted to keep going and look elsewhere. So I said I need a 5 and a 2. So the 5 now is definitely in one of these 2 cells, because it's not in here. And the 2 sadly can still be there, and therefore it doesn't force a 2 in here. Maybe this black KROPKI dot It's not 3, 6. It's not 4, 8. This is 1, 2. If that's 2, that would be 1. That would be 2. So that is actually possible. Have I basically placed everything else? Is this just 1, 2, 5, 7, 9? Yes, it is. Really not sure now. Tempted to sort of move on. I mean, there's plenty of other clues that are probably worth exploring, but it's a bit of a shame that I just don't seem to be able to crack it without having to look elsewhere in the grid. This has to be a low digit. It's not 2, it's not 3, it's not 4. Again, it can be 1 or 5 depending on whether this is a 9. We've got a 1-5 pair now, which is helpful because we know that this is now restricted to 4 or 8. Since there's essentially a 4, 8 in 2 cells with a 1-5 being the third, this is not the 1-5 cell. Yeah, I'm going to move on. Right, this 10 cage and this 9. So let's think actually about where 5 is in box 7. That was another obvious digit to place. 5, we established, cannot be in a 2-cell 10 cage. 5 cannot be on a German whisper line because, to be 5 or more away, it would either be 0 or 10. So that's the 5, which we kind of knew there has to be a 5 on this RENBAN, again for the same logic that we went through in here, because we definitely have a low and high digit in here. Now, because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cells, 2 and 8 are too far apart. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 7 cells. So this can be 3, 7 or 4, 8. Sorry, 4, 6. That's not 6, and therefore that's not 4, and that's not 3, therefore that's not 7. Where am I going with this? I was thinking this 3, 6 is actually significant, because I feel like whether this is 3, 7 or 4, 6, I have to have 4 and 6 on this line. And it's not here, and it's not there, and it's not there. Does that make sense? So if this is 3, 7, I end up with 3, 7, 5. I still need 4 and 6 to make sure that this run is consecutive. Now the question then I want to answer is, where is the 6? Well, it's not this cell because I have a 3, 6 staring at it. It's not these 2 cells because I have a 6 already in the box. So this is forced to be a 6, 4. Then we have a consecutive run that could be surrounded by a whole bunch of different things. I'm not going to try and figure out what these 3 cells are necessarily. Yeah. Let's think about these cells. So, not very helpful. We know that all of these are going to be the same color, and therefore all of these are going to be the same color. I say color polarity. If these cells are low, then the others are going to be high and vice versa. But what it doesn't do is help me figure out any of this. 4s, I can actually place a 4. That may be part of the solution path. 4s in box 8 are in none of these cells. Can't be in here because I'll be repeating it on this RENBAN, and you can't do that. That's a 4. That's a 2. That's not a 2, therefore this is a 1, 5, 7. Remember, we needed a 2 on this. That's the 2. That's the 1. That 2 sees that 2, 8 up there. That's a 2. That's not an 8 anymore. We've kind of run out of places for 8 in box 6 other than in here. This is from 1, 4, 5. That's not a 4. Mind you, that's the 1, 5 pair. That's the 4. I know what. This has to be a high digit, which is not 8, not 6. This is 7 or 9. Now again, this can still be a 5. I can still have a double 9 surrounding a 5 in the middle. Unlikely, but possible based on the pencil marks that we have right now. And Let me think about this. This 1, 5 is the same as this 1, 5. This 1, 5 has to be somewhere between these two cells. So yeah, I can't really restrict this at the moment. I've got 2, 3, 4 with a 6. I need a 5 for sure between these, which we've established. This one tells me this is the 5. That's not the 5. Which unfortunately doesn't actually help me necessarily, in that this is still 1, 7, or 9. And it can be truly any of them. Shall we move on from this? It's quite, like I said, it's quite frustrating that I can't seem to sort of crack it. It feels like there's enough information, and maybe there is, I'm just not seeing it, and we should just move on. This 10 cage, it's not 4, 6, it's not 1, 9, it's not 2, 8, it is 3, 7. A 3 on a RENBAN line would require at least an 8 or 9. It's not 8, it would be 9. If that was a 7, this would need to be 1 or 2. It's not a 2, that would be 1. So it's an extreme digit based on whatever is in here. And then we've got, I mean, tons of options after that, so I'm not going to keep thinking about it. This is very interesting. I thought this is going to be a little bit easier than what I'm working my way through right now. That 5 gives me this 1, which, yeah, doesn't help with the 7 9s. If that was a 5, that would have forced a whole bunch of things, but now I don't actually know. I do know what these 3 cells are. This is not 1, 2, 3. It is a 4, a 9, and a 7. Pretty sure I can't have a 9 on this. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, I can. I can't have a 4, though. So one of these is a 4. If that's a 9, that would be 7 and 8. Doable. If that was a 7, I still have a ton of freedom. In fact, the fact that I have 1, 2, and 3 already placed tells me that I don't actually. This is an extreme RENBAN. It is 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Not 3, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, the fact that none of these can be a 3, I need to have an 8 in one of these two, with 7, 8, or 9. Essentially, whichever 7, 9 this is, this one isn't. And then in the middle, well, I've got the 7 9s now covered, and the 8, I can actually place a 5. Now I have a 1, 7, 9 triplet, but in fact this is 1 or 9 because I've already placed the 7. That gives me a 7, finally resolving this. 7, 9, this has to be the 8 therefore. That's not the 8. This is the 7, 9 pair that we've spoken about. This 7, 9, this 7, 9 doesn't help. What do we need to place in here? We need a 2 and 8. Ironically, no real pressure on any of these digits anymore with this setup. That is very ironic. So it's purely resolved vertically, at least for this box. Let's think about what's going on in here then. Do we know enough about this RENBAN? Almost. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, the 9 is up here. The 5 is on the side. And then the 7 is placed. Should have started there. That's 5. That's 9. You can place this digit now. It is... How am I not seeing it? 9. Yeah, 9. And therefore 7, 9, this has to be the 9. This is now a 4, 7 run. That is a 2. So this is 2, 3, 4. Somewhere between these two cells is a 5. That tells me the order. 5, 6, 7. And then I have either an 8, which I don't, or a 1. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's all of it. These two cells, I mean, does that help me resolve anything? No, it doesn't. I can place these two. I need a 3 and 8, it seems. Not resolved. And in here, I need a 2 and 6. Also not resolved. Right, what about up here? This is not 1, 9, this is not 2, 8, it's not 3, 7, it is 4, 6. That 4 gives me the order, that's 6, that's 4, that gives me the 3, the 6, then a 1, then I've got 3 digits to finish here. I've got 3, 5, and 7. That is the 5 because I've got 3, 7 looking at it. So these cells, no, they don't have to be. I was actually very tempted to think these are all low or all high digits, but that's not true. I actually need to place a 5 in here. But actually, I need to place a 5 on this RENBAN. So this RENBAN, given it's going from a low digit to a high digit, we've established this already, and this kind of pattern needs to go through a 5. 5 is not on the 10 cages. Not that this is part of that RENBAN. It's not on here either, because that's a 5 looking at it, that's another 5 looking at it. That is the 5. So this is a run of either 6, 7, 8, 9, or 1, 2, 3, 4. The fact that we have 4s looking at it and 2s tells me this is 6, 7, 8, 9. This 8, 9 tells me kind of a running order. In fact, I can just place the 9. 9 is not in there because of these 9s. That's the 9, that's a 1. That has to be the 8 because I've got an 8 looking at it there. This is 6 and 7. That 6 tells me it is a 6 in here. 7, 2. What a fabulous finish to this puzzle. That's a 9, 1. That's got to be a 7. That's got to be a 3. We can just resolve all of this now. 8, 2, 6, 2, 4, 7, 3, 8, 3, 7. I need a 3 to join all of this RENBAN line, and then to finish up this beautiful puzzle. And if not made any other mistakes, it is a 4 and a solution to today's puzzle. Solve counter of 3. Goodness me. That is worthy of far more solves than that. I don't know if it's just the rating of the puzzle. Maybe it's a bit too difficult, but it's a fabulous puzzle, Will. Absolutely stunning puzzle. I mean, thinking about it, you know, you can see that I'm just trying to think around where could I've actually had break-ins, because it felt a little bit convoluted at times, the logic to be able to place digits. I mean, that 5 requires quite a bit of thinking to get it. The fact that there is a 5 somewhere on here again, but it doesn't actually allow you to place a digit either. Yeah, I'm not sure actually. I don't know if there was a more optimal solution path. I mean, clearly I was determined to resolve this right-hand side of the puzzle before looking elsewhere. So I'm sure I could have shaved probably another 5 minutes off if I just abandoned this obsession and just headed west, so to speak, and looked elsewhere. But yeah, it is a very involved puzzle, but a beautiful puzzle. I guess like any dance would, it is very involved. You know, watch your steps. Hope that you guys enjoyed the puzzle. I absolutely did. It's a phenomenal one, Will. Thank you so much for creating it. And I hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and see you back for the next one and our continuous countdown towards Christmas. Bye for now.